I recently took my 2026 Porsche 911 Carrera S on a 2,700-mile cross-country drive, and here are a few things that really surprised me. The first item on that list is the roof box. It was creating a lot of road noise from the start. It was creating a lot of drag, which I did not expect, especially once I hit those really high winds places like Arizona and New Mexico. It really felt like I was towing something. And I was driving on the highway, so going 75, 85, you can really tell the huge drop in performance. All right, number 2 is gas mileage. Now, before I left for the trip, I really wanted to break my car in, and I only had 3 weeks to do it. So I ended up driving 900 miles around Northern Virginia, ended up averaging about 15 miles per gallon due to the fact that I was driving the city, I was driving Sport or Sport Plus. However, once I got on the road on my cross-country road trip, I ended up averaging about 21 miles per gallon, which was amazing, especially given the fact that I had a roof box, which put on a lot of drag, and I had a lot of added weights. Since I'm a digital nomad, I was carrying around a lot of my personal stuff, like kitchen items. I have some clothing, some gears for like camping. So that has a lot of weight. And that really surprised me. Getting 21 miles per gallon from a sports car was amazing. Nothing compared to my 2018 Honda Accord, which was getting me about 40 miles per gallon. So averaging 21 miles per gallon, combine that with the extended fuel tank that I have, which has a capacity of 22.2 gallons, I was getting about 450 miles of range on a full tank. So that meant I only had to stop for gas once. However, I stopped twice because I like to fill up my tank at the end of each day so I can start the next morning on a full tank. And I suggest you do the same because no one really likes to run out of gas. Here's how much I spent on gas. Day 1, I drove from DC to Nashville, Tennessee, covering 633 miles and spent $107 on gas. Day 2, drove from Nashville to Dallas, Texas, covering 669 miles and spent $123. Day 3, continued to hug that southern border. I drove from Dallas to El Paso, Texas, covering 634 miles and spent $60 on gas. On day 4, I drove from El Paso to Tucson, Arizona, covering 400 miles and spent $126 on gas. Day 5, the last stretch, I drove from Tucson to San Diego, California, covering 411 miles and spent $54 on gas. While we're still on the topic of gas, something that really surprised me was the fact that on the East Coast, you can find 93 at every gas station possible. However, once I passed El Paso, got into New Mexico, I was really having a hard time finding 93. Initially, that really puzzled me because the car asked for 93, so I didn't want to put 91 and damage the engine, especially on the brand new car. After doing some research, 91 does not really affect it. The only thing it does is just lower the performance. I also found out that you can only find 91 in California, and given the fact that California is the largest market for Porsche, that really made me comfortable putting 91. But still, the first time I put 91, it felt like a crime. It felt like I was going to blow up the engine. When you drive a sports car cross country, the first thing that's going to come to mind is gas. The second thing that's going to come to mind is comfort. I had the 18-way seats, which I absolutely love. I was driving 11 hours every day for the first 3 days, and I never felt sore. While I was still on the topic of comfort, another thing worth mentioning is the amount of road noise you get at tires. Now, I was getting a lot of road noise and I was feeling every bump, but that's kind of expected with a sports car. However, it's not as bad to the point where I would regret or hate the trip that I took. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Overall, driving 2,700 miles in this car was probably one of the best things that I've done. My only regret was doing it over 5 days. I wish I could have done it over 2 weeks or 3 weeks, exploring different places, but I was really on a tight schedule. I had to be here in San Diego at a specific time to get my keys to the apartment. Given we're now in spring, I really recommend you take out your sports car on a trip. It could be a day trip, it could be a weekend trip. Just take it out for a drive and enjoy it. As I'm recording this video, I'm actually sitting at 4,987 miles. So if you really want that 5,000 mile update, subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of videos coming up. I recently took it to my very first autocross. I am taking it camping the coming weekend, and then next weekend I am taking it to my second autocross. The following week I'm doing my very first track weekend. So a lot of videos in the pipeline, so make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.